Order at 6 o'clock, 6:01. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eileen, will you conduct roll call?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Here.
trustee Hopkins,
Here.
trustee Gant,
Here.
trustee Blair,
Here.
trustee Studing,
Here.
and President Duke.
Here. Eileen, have we met open compliance? Thanks. With compliance met?
We have met compliance. We did email out a little late, but it did meet compliance.
Good.
Do I have approval of the agenda sequence?
Motion to approve. I second that.
Great. Okay, so we'll start the committee of the whole meet. What? Oh, I need a vote, please.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're going to start the committee of the whole meeting. I do have some president's comments. Bear with me, I have a cold, I have allergies. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight and ask everyone to please silence their phones and hold any comments for the public comment section of tonight's meeting. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Don't find fault, find a remedy. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. Those are the words of Henry Ford, the creator of Ford Motor Company. They resonate with me because that is where we are today, here to move forward, work together, and find a remedy. If this election has proved nothing else, it has shown that the voters of Salem Lakes and those who care about Salem Lakes are ready for change. When I was asked to run, I did not think today was possible. I had no experience, I was not well known in our community, and my circle was small. I spent time learning of ongoing issues, hearing the stories of businesses and individuals, and observing many meetings. I agreed we needed change. Last year, I had the opportunity to see Mark Robinson speak. For those who don't know, he was elected the first Black Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, who is currently in office. I drew courage from hearing his words. Change starts at the local level. You don't need experience. You just need to be willing to do the heavy lifting and get involved. Interestingly enough, his journey started at a city council meeting. If you haven't heard his story, please Google him. I'm happy to see he's now going to run for governor. The path to this day was exhausting, inspiring, and enlightening. We had a large grassroots effort that was nothing short of amazing. From strangers to our friends and family, business owners, and some that are serving in areas far and near, everyone donated their time to support us. So many came together and proved that your voice and your vote does count. In small communities, it really is important. You made this happen. And I promise we can and we will do better. For all areas of the village, from the village board to the employees to our various boards and commissions, we need to be held accountable with checks and balances in place. We need to be more mindful of how we spend taxpayers' money and to always be respectful. Our residents, businesses, visitors, and those who wish to join Salem Lakes in the future deserve that. There will be a lot of changes and difficult decisions to be made starting tonight. We would be remiss not to do so. To you, our community, we owe you that. Some will welcome these changes, others will not. I must put my personal feelings aside and do what I feel is right, and I want to assure you, there is no personal agenda other than moving this village forward with new energy, greater transparency, and ethical practices that treat everyone with respect and with the same rules. During my campaign, I said we needed to have the right people in the right positions. The choices I make tonight for board and commission appointments I feel are necessary. I have spent the last 3 days reading the letters and applications, making phone calls to interview and ask questions, and have weighed my decisions carefully. For those who have previously served and are currently serving on our various boards and commissions, I want to thank you for your service. Yours has not always been an easy job. And I want you to know that I acknowledge that. It is time to bring fresh ideas to help lead us into the future. We need to be open to allowing others to step up and be of service to their community and extend them a welcoming hand. I truly believe with some new energy, ambition, and vision that our village can be repaired, revitalized, and put on a path of prosperity that benefits us all. We must work hard to restore trust in our community with an emphasis on open communication and inclusion, make smart decisions in keeping with our small town priorities. We need to work with our neighboring communities. Our businesses and our residents need our support to be successful. We may have flipped 4 seats and run together as a block, but Kelly Sweeting, Bill Barheit, Jared Young, and myself are all diverse thinkers who owe no favors and are not directed by any person, group, or organization. We are committed to working hard with the goal of bringing respect and integrity back to our community. It's an honor to join Ron Gant, Bill Hopkins, and Dennis Faber here tonight. And I want to thank you for welcoming us and being so gracious. We look forward to working with you, the employees, boards, commissions, residents, taxpayers, and others to help support our village. To this board, it is our duty to serve our community without bias, making decisions that are fair and just with no expectation of political or personal gain. We cannot afford to be complacent with our duties, and we must put our personal feelings aside to make the best decision for our community as a whole. It is imperative that we always treat the staff and the public with respect and conduct ourselves with professional fortitude, reestablishing what it means to be a public servant. Our meetings should be inviting and our tone respectful towards our guests and to each other. We are not only citizens of our village, but as elected officials, we are held to a higher standard. Anything less is unacceptable. Please remember this when you attend other village meetings or events or are out in public. We are looked at as role models of our community, and our behavior is a reflection of our village. Everything trickles down from the top. I have no doubt that this board will always do the right thing. I know you care passionately about your community. You are all talented, smart, and thoughtful individuals, and I look forward to this journey together. And to the public, please have patience. Be kind to our office and village employees. They work hard and they try their best always. And I know this from previously working here. We have a lot of work to do. Some changes will be able to happen quickly and others will take time. I am keeping a long to-do list, and I promise you that I add your ideas and suggestions to it. Let's all work together to be better and find solutions. I would also like to ask for your grace during my first months. I'm new at this, and I have a lot of learning ahead of me, but I'm committed to the oath I took. I will always take the greater good into consideration before my own feelings in every decision I make. There are many who deserve to be recognized for their contributions that have led us here. I'd like to start by thanking the previous village board for their service to this community and for paving the way to make this change possible. To the voters who believed in us, the countless volunteers, the businesses, the KCRP, Sandy Wiedmeyer, Amanda Nidwitzki, Moms for Liberty, our friends old and new, and our supporters, thank you. To the various media outlets, love them or hate them, thank you. To those who have allowed us places to meet, gave us advice and guidance, and to the many who fed us, thank you. Special mention to Town Square, Ralph's Ace of Hearts, and Wilmot Stage Stop. We appreciate you. And a special thank you to Slaboa and those who brought out awareness of the issues and had the courage to stand up. I also can't forget the many honorable mentions. You know who you are. Our neighboring communities of Paddock Lake, Bristol, and Twin Lakes are also owed gratitude for allowing us to sit in and observe their meetings. But most importantly, the biggest thank you of all is owed to our families. They deserve to be thanked for being patient with us throughout this process. In closing, I want to say, I am honored and grateful to sit here as your village president. It's a very humbling experience. I'm excited about the changes we will implement and the possibilities those will bring. Thank you for believing in me, in us, and in yourselves. With that, I welcome you to your new Salem Lakes Village Board. Okay, thank you. So we're going to do public comments, and these comments are for items included on this agenda item only. Alan Dunsky, can you come forward, state your name and address for the record?
I sent up a non-agenda item.
Non-agenda item, thank you. Okay, well then there are none for agenda items. So we'll start with item number 1. Discussion of ATV UTV referendum, creating a committee and requirements for an ordinance for the ATV UTV use on village roads. Like to open it for discussion?
Well, I was the one that brought up to begin with. It would be something like the golf ordinance that we brought up. We have to have an ordinance, written up in the whole shot, so. We had a three-member committee for the golf carts. Now, I did recommend a 3 or 4 member committee as well for the ATV ordinance, okay? Or to put this all together. I've talked to the Southern Wisconsin riding enthusiasts, the DNR, the DOT. I have all the stuff from Walworth County, Bloomfield. It's just amazing what's out there. And we just have to put an ordinance together. And I do have a couple of names of somebody who would like to get on there, okay? So once you put this together, we got to get the city attorney and have him write it up and see where it'll fly. With the referendum passed as far as the vote, so I guess my question is that is everybody in for putting this an ordinance together to allow this?
Instead of having our own ordinance, what's the possibility of looking at what the DNR statutes are and simply adopting them? And the reason I say that, Trustee Gant, is because much like the golf cart, we hear where village to village, village to towns may have a slightly different twist on some of their golf cart ordinances. If we have one standard throughout the state, and these ATV, UTVs, by the way, must be licensed through the state. Once they have that sticker, they're given a book of all the rules and regulations throughout the state. No one then can come back and say, I didn't know.
Yes, I've got all the stuff from the state. I mean, it's nuts what's out there. Okay, and I mean we can go by their rules and regulations.
Yeah, I would be in favor of a committee, but I would give strong look at just simply adopting the DNR statutes and go from there.
Well, I talked to this Mr. Roberts, he's from the DNR, and he'd be willing to come down and sit down and put something together because there is going to be a lot of signage involved with this. Sure. The biggest thing is county road, but on the other hand, too, I know Wheatland is working with the county, okay, for to open up some of the county roads. And I'm working on this with Andy Lice over there and see what we can all put together. Now, the guy, Mr. Roberts from the States suggested, I said, well, we would like selective streets or roads in the village. He says, that's going to really cause a story. He said, you're really better off opening all the village roads up.
For the ATV, UTV.
ATV, UTV.
Not for the golf carts.
Golf carts. It's a whole different entity. So.
They still can't ride on the county roads though, correct?
Correct.
But is that for the 25-mile-an-hour and the 35-mile-an-hour? Because we have both.
Basically, you read the state, you read the DNR, I mean, all the different statutes and stuff, and it's what we want to follow.
So I would like to adopt the DNR's rules. I mean, that's a statewide. We should adopt what they have. start up our own. I would like to see that as well. What about all the signage? Who's paying for all the signage? Is that
Well, that's
the village?
That's the biggest thing. I mean, the village, I mean, a lot of them have clubs that actually,
Well, that's what I was getting at.
you know, put a club together and at least help pay for the signage.
Sure.
So what I guess what I'm asking is, can we put a committee together and, with 3 or 4 people, and I got this Mike Allegana or whatever, who brought the guy in from our previous meeting. Richard Bakes, and I know he belongs to a lot of clubs as well.
Yeah.
And myself, because we belong to 3 or 4 clubs too, so. We don't need a big gang, but just put together what we can with the DNR and the DOT. Sure.
I'd also look at the comment about possibly fundraising for some of the signs. I mean, is that something we can do, Mike? I mean, get an estimate on how much each sign is and how many signs we would need, and then figure out.
I haven't reviewed it, so I don't even know what the rules are. We gotta put whatever in.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, I would entertain a committee then, just looking into the number of signs and everything else that we would, different signs.
Do we need a motion for that?
No, there's no action. These are all discussion.
So Ron, you're going to
Yeah.
volunteer to be on the committee?
Yep. And like,
Okay, so-
and if there's somebody else who wants to get on it, I mean, we will,
I think that we should open that up for residents who want to put their name in to be on it, for sure.
Absolutely. You have to.
but here again, we don't need 40 people. I mean.
No, I think 3 is fine.
Yep, okay, that's fine.
We don't need any sort of board approval for a committee to look into that. Exploratory committee, do we, Rich?
We do that.
Okay.
Okay, so if anyone would like to submit letters to our clerk to be part of that, I think we'll give it, you think 2 weeks?
Sure.
2 weeks? And then we'll look at those. And Eileen, can you get that on the website as well? Thank you. Okay, anything else on that? No? Okay. Agenda item number 2, discussion of fines/bonds concerning golf cart ordinance.
So that was myself. I'd asked President Booker if we could, Bukar, I'm sorry.
Bucher.
If we could entertain discussing. I did have a conversation with Judge Langle, and I also asked him if he could be here tonight with us. The way the current ordinance reads, there's one set fee of $124 for underage driving. Underage being defined by our own ordinance of 16 years, or I'm sorry, less than 16 years of age. Recently, we've all heard or seen a rash number of these younger children, and I use that word children because I've called the sheriff's deputies multiple times. They stopped 2, of which the oldest was 12 years of age. So I asked if there's something that we can do with the bonds or fines issued to the underage children and of course their parents. And I would like to see a window, a spread, so that if we're having repeat offenders, rather than that $124 fine each and every time, that it then bumps up. And my request would be a maximum of $500. Now, bear in mind too, and Judge, you can help me out here if you would. On top of the fine, there's a 25% court cost.
Well, that's, I think we have for a plan that 124.
124.
I believe that would be a $30 fine, but you add what I call taxes onto that, and it brings it up to $92. I think it's $92.
Okay,
So, and there is a big spread on that. I mean, it goes from $0 to $1,000. That's the bond amount. That can go up or down in court. But, you know, if you want to set, for second and third offense or something like that, where you want to escalate them,
as opposed to, so would that be, which is easier for you when you see these offenders coming before you,
as to what?
if they're repeat?
Well, it would be easier if they're repeaters, if you're gonna have that. I think you probably have to have that in the ordinance. That's up to Rich. If you want to do first offense, second offense, and third offense, you can just set the bond amounts higher on each offense. Right now, it's at 124. Or no, is it?
Yeah, it's 124 now for the under 16 years of age without a driver's license.
Besides that, even in the ordinance, you have 16 years old and they must have as a driver's license.
Mhm.
Correct.
So, you know, they're probably gonna be older than that when they get a driver's license anyway, by the time they get their driver's license. But they have to be 16 to get it.
Rich, what is your thought on it? I mean, first offense, second offense, third offense, or just a spread?
Well, I mean, what you have, if you use that first, second, third offense framework, is that gives the municipal judge, some additional information. He sees on the citation that he's looking at with a juvenile offender standing in front of him, okay, this is second offense. So he's alerted to that. Now, the reverse side of that though is, this is not, I believe, a violation that's going to be reported to DOT. Driving record. So keeping track of first and third offense may be more difficult. When you have a violation that's DOT reported and then you run a driver's record, that record will give you that. So that's something you need to keep in consideration, is how you're going to keep track of these number of offenses so that that information can be communicated via the citation to the support.
So nothing in the systems today are automatic for that, as far as a tracking tool for underage?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, the sheriff's department may have some ability to do that with their track systems for that they've used with citations. But typically, the municipal court is looking at a driving record from the DOT. This would not be.
Well, if I may, we've got that in our records. If they have a first offense, we have it in our records. If the clerk would spot that in a minute, when it comes up again, and put alert things. You wouldn't have to go outside to do that.
Right, but the deputy who's issuing the citation will have that information available. The court will. But if I'm a deputy out on the boat side, and now I have this juvenile offender in front of me, I'm not gonna have a way to determine if this particular juvenile offender has received a citation previously. Judge Langle will know that once it gets into the report, but the officer won't know that. So if you have the officer issuing a second offense citation, they won't have a way to determine if they should do that.
So if they don't, let's just hypothetically say they don't, then they issue the same person another ticket, first offense, and it comes before Judge Langle. Can he, when he sees that, can he raise that fine up to what a second offense would be?
If you maintain the structure that gives a wide range for the violation. So we have a bond amount, that's the average, but we have a wide range of penalties. Now the municipal judge can impose a penalty anywhere within that range, taking into consideration all the relevant circumstances, one of which may be that there's a previous violation.
Okay.
But if you say, now we're gonna have this forfeiture for a first offense, a different one for a second offense, and a different one for a third, the citation that charges the offense has to know that it's a second offense
All right.
in order for the court to have the ability to impose the second offense penalties.
So then just leaving it the way it is now, the 124 to 1,000 gives the judge the latitude. If he sees that it's a repeat offender, he can give that anywhere within that spread.
Correct. And he also at the same time can taking the other factors that might impact on his decision. For example, if there's an accident or there's hazardous driving, or someone was hurt or those kind of things, because all of that then would impact or could impact the judge's decision on what to help.
Okay,
Judge Langle, do you ever assign community service for first offense? I would rather see that than a monetary fine.
Quite often, mostly in juvenile cases.
Mhm.
I've never had an offense for a golf cart or an ATV yet. I think they
You
had
have
one
not.
for an ATV years ago.
Yeah.
But is that what you meant? Do I ever use community service? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think for first offense for juveniles, I would be more open to community service, you know. There's a lot of places that they could serve that. Work it off instead of making mom and dad pay for it.
no, but
I'm not one that makes mom and dad pay for anything out of this. For the juveniles, I should say. Although the law, and sometimes I tell them that in court, I'll say the law says that the judge can assess that forfeiture to the person who did it, the defendant,
Mhm.
or their parents, or both. And I prefer the person who did the deed should pay for it.
Right.
But yet I use community service quite a bit with juveniles, almost 100%. And we have a meeting at the Wilmot High School and possibility that we can just send people right there.
Mhm.
But, Bill Hopkins can tell you about that. We haven't had the meeting.
so we're meeting with the principal, the resource officer, Judge Langle and myself, Wednesday. But it was intended more for the high schoolers than
Right.
juveniles, so. Because I had suggested to him when we were talking about this, when I was on the fire department, we used to have kids come in that were giving community service. And obviously they would be washing equipment, trucks and so forth and so on. And I haven't seen that in a long time. And I suggested to him at the high school, maybe we could take a look at that.
We've had a community service project set up for years. But it's all basically, you know, we'll give them a list of places. It has to be a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
We'll give them a list, but we also give them directions on where they can go if they find something else that's not on the list. That, you know, they can use that as well. If it's questionable, they have to call the clerk and get the okay though, if it's not on the list.
There's a paper too, they have to have signed for so many hours, correct?
That's correct. They have to sign the person that they're doing the community service work for. That supervisor has to sign the paperwork and get it back to the court.
Yeah.
If that's what we're doing. And then if it doesn't, you know, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then there's other sanctions that will follow.
All right,
May
Thank
I interject a thought?
Yeah.
On the ATVs, I'm not hearing anything about, I hear a lot about the younger kids. Do we have any means for education? Like when younger kids want to get the ability to drive a boat, they go to a boating safety class. I researched on the Kenosha Sheriff's Department, and because of the popularity of these, they do offer safety classes. Perhaps we can, you know, help facilitate hosting them, and then the kids will understand the ramifications of bad behavior and maybe value their ability to drive them.
DNR oftentimes provides that sort of training. And that's fine if they've got a driver's license and they're 16 years of age or older. But I can tell you recently, there were two that were stopped, the oldest being 12 and the youngest being much younger than that individual. So in that case, no education would have helped there.
Do you have to be 16 or over to drive a boat in Wisconsin?
I don't believe
I
so.
was, I think 12 or
I
13
don't believe so.
after my boat safety class.
Yeah, I think it's 12 in the state of Wisconsin for
It's 12 in the state of Wisconsin and take the 18.
whatever, yeah. Yeah, so you still have a licensed driver, much like a young individual first getting their permit, still needs to have a licensed driver with them.
Well, I know on some of the DNR rules, if you take an ATV course, you can actually drive them on the trails. But I don't know how, I'd like to not have them drive them on village roads. I mean, you have to be a licensed driver to drive on a village street or road. Just because you have a DNR course that's, you know, your ATV course certification, okay? I wouldn't like to see that driven on our village roads.
Okay, well, we're gonna stay on the golf cart ordinance. Is there any other discussion on that? No? Did I skip?
Good.
My only comment is that since we've passed this ordinance, we've only had 4, I understand, golf carts
Registered?
registered. And we know in some communities they're running all over. And the kids with the juveniles we're talking about are very young, 8, 9, 10 years old are running around with them.
Mhm.
Our officers just have not,
Right, you're looking at the enforcement of it all, you know, so, and that's been brought up before, okay? And,
that's what we're lacking. I mean, once we pass the ordinance, many people just assume they can go run around, but there are some things they're supposed to do before that.
So when the village sends out the next utility bill, why don't we send flyers to the community asking them to register their golf cart? Be a little bit more inviting and easier with it. I mean, who wants to trailer their golf cart up here and, you know, get it registered? I just feel like it's a hassle for people. That's why they're not doing it. So maybe we come up with something where it's a little easier.
There's multiple locations that they can go.
I understand. You still got to trailer it there. You're not going to drive it there.
Do they acquire a sticker once they're registered, like a boat sticker?
Mhm.
I mean, validating, so basically if anybody sees it on the roadway without a sticker, pretty much know it's not registered.
Well, the only problem there is it says conspicuously displayed. Some
Mhm.
golf carts don't have windshields. They can put it anywhere on the golf cart they want. And some of these golf carts, while they're supposed to be limited to no more than 25 miles an hour, they sure seem like they're going much faster than that, but.
Can we require like
I
a,
just like to comment on Mr. Young. Young, we had a conversation with previous sheriffs and then also reached out to the owner.
Yeah.
At the time, they wanted to get rid of golf cart inspections. Just because of the local municipalities trying to set up and then nobody's home. There's a lot of arguments about sheriff's department being scheduled to go to do that inspection.
Sure.
And an emergency call comes. They didn't show, property owner left. Now they're calling for a check to come back. Well, now they don't have a deputy bid. Boom. That was kind of the compromise that they agreed to do it on Saturdays, 2 or 3 vacations. So we would need to contact the owner, the sheriff's owner. We would like to change the plan. That's they're the ones that doesn't.
Do we know what Paddock Lake does?
I believe they were going to have to follow the same rule. That was really where
They're very popular
we
there.
didn't even have the golf cart ordinance, but they were having that.
Yeah.
issue with that.
Why can't we have the fire department do it?
It was a liability.
It's open.
issue.
Oh, there's a liability
It
issue.
was because none.
I mean, it's open 24/7.
Well, we-
Trailers here.
probably have to schedule like a weekend day or
Yeah.
something to come up and get
Yeah,
tested?
once, one weekend a month or whatever. I mean,
that's the way it's set up now, where you call the sheriff's department, you're gonna set up an appointment on a Saturday or whatever,
Actually,
Yeah, they-
add,
yep.
staff.
or Silver Lake.
Friday, myself and deputy in charge. Give us a list of who's gonna be where at what time.
Yep. It's pretty effective.
not for 4 people last year.
Did we get anywhere on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on.
All right.
And I don't. Those why we should be the court counsel for Ocean County with the chair.
Sure.
Quite pretty restricted one for active duty.
Still trying to, they have to inspect these at the site.
We facilitate right with the deputy. Yeah.
And that is on our website somewhere, I believe, right? As far as golf cart,
It's a separate, I don't know what you call those, Amanda, the link or something,
Yeah, it's listed on there.
golf carts
Yeah.
specifically, yeah.
Correct.
Maybe we can put that in our next newsletter too. Okay, if no one else has anything to say on that one.
Who keeps up with the liability insurance?
or what?
It says permit stickers are valid. Proof of liability insurance for not less than $100,000.
If they're stopped by a deputy, they have to show current
Mhm.
insurance, much like you would for your car if you're stopped.
And would they not have to show that to get their sticker?
Yes, you have to show that.
Okay,
Is that a special insurance for being on the road? Because liability is a whole lot more on the road than if you're on a trail somewhere.
But we're
I'm
not,
just curious.
yeah, I don't know what it is for a golf cart versus an ATV, UTV, if that's what you're asking.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody out there have a golf cart
registered?
registered?
Mike? Okay,
Is it much more money for you with your golf cart than a car? It's cheap? Okay.
Bundle.
Progressive.
Is there a special rider that says you're allowed to go on the road with your insurance with a golf cart? I'm just curious. I mean,
I have it through State Farm. They seem to know the procedure pretty well. So that's a simple phone call.
okay. We'll move on to number 3. Discussion regarding the RFP for real estate broker services for sale of village properties. So I had my real estate license in Illinois and Wisconsin, and I was reading this over. Now, the one in our portal is different than the one that is on our website. So I have a copy of the one on our website. I would like to add to the scope of services. Number 5, negotiating with buyers on behalf of village to also present offers from buyers to village board prior to that. I would also ask that the proposals be sent to the clerk and myself as well. And then in the feed schedule, which is item number D, we should spell out, so number 1 says state your commission rate for the selling of properties. We should also spell out state commission rate if you have dual agency. So if you have both sides of the sale, we should ask if they have a different rate for that, if they're representing both sides. And then item E, term of contract, 24 months is a crazy long.
Yeah.
Most real estate contracts are 6 months. And so I would like to see that change to 6 months. I don't want to hire anybody for longer than that. If they're not producing, then you're stuck with them for 24 months.
Great.
And then we need to add in the following information must accompany your proposal. Item H also needs to include the dual agency wording. Anybody have anything else?
Negative.
Have we gotten any applications for that or any,
See one today.
just one? Okay, I have it.
Should be in there.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to number 4, discussion regarding administrators report at committee of the whole meetings. So we want to add that on here and discuss what sort of information we would like for the administrator to report on to keep us informed of things. I'd like to open that up for discussion.
I know we had this discussion years ago with a previous administrator. And Rich, you had expressed to us that the only thing that we can really talk about, and correct me if I'm wrong, was something that we've brought up in the past. We've talked about in the past as a board, no new items.
Well, I mean, it depends what you mean by talk about. So another municipality that I represent, the administrator issues a report that isn't necessarily part of the board meeting, but is a weekly Friday afternoon. He sends out kind of a mass email, which includes the board and members of the public who sign up for it, that says, here's the things that we have going on.
Mhm.
So something might be at your plan commission meeting next week. There's going to be a discussion about the new storage facility, for example. Okay, and he puts that in his weekly administrator report that he shares. If you want to have something on your agenda that you're going to discuss and take possible action on as a board, the agenda has to be specific as to the item.
Mhm. I think a general report on goings on in the village so that the general public has an idea. It's kind of what I was thinking. Not necessarily here's what's at, well, maybe P and Z, maybe, you know, we were approached by so-and-so. They're looking to do this. I don't know.
Some of that stuff, though, I would think we have to be sensitive to if it's exploratory on the part of the let's say manufacturer, where
Mhm.
he's just looking and doesn't really want to let out that he's searching for a new location. For example, and I don't know if it happened or not, but let's take the ones that moved in from Antioch, the
Oh,
auto
Bronco-
parts.
Bronco.
Tell you, a lot of conversation on Fonto, Stabio, a lot of it.
But some of that stuff, we don't necessarily want general information to go out, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions? I was thinking like upcoming road projects that the state is thinking about doing or the county. We could talk about,
Things completed.
you know, our yard waste hours, just to get people, you know, just some general information so that people know what's going on.
Oh,
Do we have somebody review that before it gets published?
Well, he would,
Even if there is something
would be-
that's
that would be,
privacy matters?
well, I would think that your administrator would know and be able to discern if it was
Sure.
a private matter versus something that should be broadcast to the public.
I would think so too. I think Mike would be able to dictate that.
I'll be honest with you too. If you have a question or see something or are concerned with something, it's never stopped me from reaching out to the administrator,
Mhm.
giving him a call and asking questions. The same holds true with the fire chief and Brad as our current planner. If there's a concern, a question, or something I see I'm not sure about, I typically give them a call and ask first. So, and I've never had an issue with that.
I don't think he'd had to have some type of a report that he can.
Mike, do you have any input?
Whatever you done.
Come on, Mike, you gotta give us more than that.
Cautious about reporting.
Yeah.
Things happen when you put them on yourself.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to think about that a little bit more. We'll be taking suggestions from the public. If you guys have anything
Yeah.
that you'd like to know.
Do we have a hypothetical date that the newsletter will be going out for this quarter? So if anybody has anything they wish to add,
Can you leave that for trustees'
Oh.
comments? Sorry.
sorry.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to number 5, discussion regarding ordinance repealing provisions to zoning board of appeals and recreating the same as chapter 160. So Brad or Rich, would you guys like to kind of go through that a little bit?
So for the zoning board of appeals, there is currently a bill of ordinance that addresses the zoning board of appeals. But it was adopted in the kind of in that transition time between the town of Salem and Silver Lake and then the village of Salem, where we were doing the consolidation. So for some reason, it didn't get included the codification of the ordinances that's available online. So the ordinance that I drafted for your review basically restated what's in the current ordinance, but there are some provisions in there that are problematic in the current ordinance, and the draft changes that. One of which is the voting requirement to grant a variance by the zoning board. The current ordinance that 4 votes are required. And that's problematic because it creates a supermajority of 80% if all of the board members are present. But it also creates a possibility where the board could be addressing a matter with only 3 members present, which is a quorum, and not having sufficient votes to actually act on it. So one of the code changes to the ordinance is to incorporate the statutory language, which basically says a majority vote is needed provided there's a quorum present. And the other provisions here, there may be a couple other minor ones about terms and those kind of things, but generally it's the ordinance that currently exists, but nobody apparently knows about. As we think it's that.
Right. So I also had added to this that no member of the board may concurrently serve on the village plan commission. It could be a conflict of interest. So we're adding that in. And then we also added in when the terms shall commence.
And Madam President, one other thing that we had talked about is a change in the qualifications for the board members. We have decided to, at least in the code, or become a elector, which has a specific meaning in the statute. And it replaces language in the current ordinance that talks about citizen, because that term doesn't have a particular meaning. And we're trying to figure out what's intended by that language. And we think elector is clearer because that means you have to be a eligible voter. So you have to be a resident of the village, otherwise eligible to vote. And it's easily defined, and there's case law that determines whether or not someone's elector, where the citizen requirement is too vague.
And I do agree with that for the Board of Appeals. I think that being a quasi judicial board, that makes sense.
Do we have other ordinances where that term citizen is used versus elector?
Yes. And I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but I think it's Plan Commission uses the term. But when I drafted that, I tracked the statutory language, because the statute uses the same term. And in my opinion, the use of the statute is to distinguish, it's in the same sentence where it says some members of the planning commission can be elected officials or employees, and some are citizen members. So I think the intention there is to distinguish between somebody who is either elected or employed by the village on the one hand, and those who are not on the other.
But nothing to do with. So. Do they have to be a resident then, as that term citizen?
I can't find anything in the statute that says that that's a requirement.
Okay.
They do not.
Right.
How often does the Board of Appeals meet that we have to worry about not enough people showing up? I was under the impression 3 or 4 times a year.
Pretty much.
So-
We have a day set aside for Wednesday, but there's nothing on the agenda.
I chaired that committee and it was very rare. I think we met maybe 4 times at the most in a year.
Yeah.
And I know the circumstance where we had a person that was on planning and zoning. It was because we needed to fill the
Right.
vacancy. So
Understood.
always looking for volunteers, folks.
So is the number to vote that important if they only meet 2 or 3 times a year?
It is
Not
important. That is important. We had to cancel last week's meeting because of this issue. So it's not, we're just trying to correct that.
Yeah, they shouldn't have 2 opportunities to vote. We had that with the
Well,
park commission.
Right, that and the number of votes needed. So we needed to clarify that. Just to be a majority. Any other questions on this change? Okay. All right. That takes care of the committee of the whole meeting. We are going to now move into general public comments. And these are comments on non-agenda matters to be addressed at this time. So, Mr. Dunsky, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, board. Alan Dunsky, 421 Chestnut. I am coming to you guys today about the annual Salem Lake Spring cleanup that I do every year. This is year 11. I've sat in front of this board, this spot many years. May 20th, 10 a.m. is the cleanup. This is our 11th year. In 10 years, volunteers have picked up over 40 tons of trash in our village alone. Started in Silver Lake. It expanded to Salem Lakes when we became one big happy family. This year, we do a lot of different things as far as working together with the community. We work with businesses, we get donations. Those donations go as a incentive to get volunteers out. To get those donations, we go around, we collect from business owners. Those go into a raffle. To get into the raffle, people have to volunteer. They have to attend the entire event, and they have to bring a bag of non-perishable food items that goes to the sharing center. In the 3 years we've done that, we've raised over 3,000 pounds of food for the sharing center. Afterwards, we have a thank you pig roast cookout afterwards. And yeah, so 2% of our village shows up to this normally. Our record is 185 people, which is still amazing, but we need more people. So that's why I'm here. You're talking to the village about community service. I actually had that written down. I would like to ask you guys, especially if you're going to the high school, the judge, which is right here. I think it's a wonderful chance for people to get their community service out of the way. We've worked in the county with it in the past. So if we could do that, that would be awesome. And I also ask you guys to put it in the newsletter. The more exposure we have, the more people attend and go from there. So any questions?
Yeah, word of caution, anyone who attends
6.
Last year I had 18 ticks when I was done.
Oh, I'm out. I'm out.
So this year, again, so we clean up the rivers, the lakes, the roadways, we hit everything that we can. We go by boat, we go by foot, but a lot of it is by foot, and it's in ditch lines, and there are a lot of ticks. Cash donations were good this year. I am stocking up on tick spray that I will have readily available. So I encourage everybody, please use tick spray, but also bring your own if you, but other than that, any other questions?
Can I drive the water cart instead?
What's that?
Can I drive the water cart? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Those are improved. I do want to thank the people that have shown up. Bill has always shown up. Ron has shown up. Rita, our new village president, did a lot this year. I think supplied pretty much the entire cleanup with bags for the event, 750 garbage bags and 900 pairs of gloves. So, or 900 gloves, so 450 pairs. So again, the more that people are involved, the better community we have. So we have a raised awareness. We have people that are vested in the community now. So here's another way to do it. Flyers are out there.
I should also mention, I brought this event up with the Fox River Commission about 3 weeks ago, and you received quite a few accolades from all the board members there. And that Fox River Commission reaches from Waukesha all the way down to the state line. And we do have representatives from Illinois as well. And they were quite impressed, especially when I read out the tonnage and the number of people showing up and so forth.
It's bad. It's really bad, actually, especially the riverways. We've gone a long way from the rivers. We've dragged out car parts, we've dragged out safes, guns, you name it. You don't know what you're going to find. Matter of fact, your son had found the not so charming drug kit last year. So there's a lot of things that people don't see as they're driving, but as soon as you're walking the ditch lines, it's impressive.
Wasn't it one gun as well was found?
Yeah, one gun over by Colony House or the railroad tracks, actually. So OJ out there. It was a very old gun, so everyone was safe. But yeah, so you never know what you're going to find. But if you guys know of anybody, you know a business that wants to donate, it's for a great cause. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you. Mr. Kulat?
Mike Kulat, 27620 Street. First off, to all of you new board members, congratulations on the election.
Thank you.
You all worked hard, you all spent a lot of money.
We
I
didn't.
know just the website alone costs a lot of money. I know the damn one myself. And I had a lot of stories to tell myself, but I chose for my election and based on 11 years serving this community. And not. People are asking me now that you're elected, but in terms of blind eye, the people in places that are in violation of various ordinances imposed, even if they were campaign headquarters or major fundraisers. And I'm speaking for a group of people that I speak with. Speaking of violations, we would like to see this board draft and pass an ordinance disallowing anyone who owes this village money, such as taxes, fees, fines, or whatever, do not be allowed to send any commissions, committees, or even this board. I want to bring up village-owned property. You were talking about that, Madam President. Some of what you said was not correct. I won't go into that right now. I want to say, what's the rush? 3 years ago, about Mike Murdoch and I sat down and compiled a list of all village-owned properties. Why don't you sit down, Mr. Mathis, and I'll take that picture.
Please be respectful. Thank you.
We compiled a list of 100 and 130 properties. We went through and identified each property. We actually physically drove by each property. We presented the list to the whole board. And at this time, as I recall, this is funny, there's only about 3 or 4 pieces of property of any value right now. One, which the village receives revenue from, as far as leasing a piece of farmland. 3 years ago, the market was a lot better than it is today. I can tell you, as you're a licensed person, I'm a licensed broker in Wisconsin, a managing broker in Illinois. But I think I know the market pretty well. I don't see a need to sell properties right now unless the village needs the money. And the last I sat up there and looked at the budget, we had a pretty hefty fund balance. So I think if you go through and sell properties right now in this market, you're gonna leave a lot of money on the table. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not the only person that has an opinion. That's all I got right now.
Thank you.
Mike.
I would also like to read a comment from West Jacobs of 11820 242nd Avenue in Trever. His comment is in regards to the trash at Dollar General. He says, I've noticed a lot of trash around Dollar General for over 2 weeks. Stopped in today to inform manager that the trash needs to be picked up. Some excuses were made, but said when rain stops, she would attend to it. We'll see. Are there any other public comments?
We'll get that one on the 20th.
Would anyone else like to come forward? No? Okay. We will move on to trustee comments. I guess I will start with, we'll talk to Mr. Barheit. We'll just go down the line. Bill, do you have anything?
No.
Jared?
I just would like to welcome State Representative of the 61st Assembly District, Amanda Nowitzki. So welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. We had actually had a nice dinner at Lincoln Day, dinner at Bella Vita. I had the honor to talk with Brian Style, also Tim Michaels. So we got a lot of encouragement from them guys. Really good people. So thank you for helping us out and you know, kind of helping us steer our way a little bit. So thank you. I do have one other thing I need to Mr. Schulze, the village board changed, the old village board changed an ordinance to allow fire commission to elect its own chair. Isn't that correct?
Yes, there was a vote by the prior board to do that. I had prepared an ordinance, but I don't put that in writing, but I don't know if that ever got.
Okay. That was the one and only reading, correct? And it wasn't in writing, it was only verbal. Does that sound correct to you? I'm just questioning the legality of it. If this change, you know, can we put in a report or can you report to me the legality of this change? Or do we, you know, we need to hire a special counsel to take care of this? I just want to make sure the legality of it is correct and it's written correctly. But I just didn't think it was written correctly, if it even was written.
I'm not sure I understand.
So,
As I said, I drafted a proposed ordinance. I don't know if that ordinance was ever signed.
Sure.
There was a motion made, followed by a second and an affirmative vote, to change the ordinance to authorize the fire commission members to select their own officers rather than having those appointed by the village board. There's no requirement in the statute or in the ordinances for multiple readings of ordinances within the village. At least at present, I mean, as a board, if you decide that you want to implement that procedure, you can do that. It would be by ordinance.
okay.
But at the present time, my understanding is that the vote taken by the prior board was valid.
Okay.
It's just it wasn't memorialized in writing. And I suggest that it may be appropriate to do that because it makes it easier to insert that into the village code.
Understood. So what do we need to do to make that happen?
I think put on the agenda the same ordinance that we've already drafted for your next meeting.
The board meeting or the cow meeting? Do we need-
Board, I think, because it's one,
Okay.
we want to take some action on it rather than just discuss.
Oops.
So can I ask a clarifying question then? So are you asking, can the fire commission select their own chairman legally, or are you asking currently?
Currently.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Because the ordinance does state that they can select their own right now. Isn't that correct?
Right, the action taken by the prior board was to authorize that.
Correct.
Eileen, can you add that to next week's?
So I'm clear, in the previous ordinance stated that the president could chairman.
Correct.
Which one are you looking for? So we know what to bring. Prepare to bring forward.
I think I'm okay with them electing their own, that, you know, the board would appoint and they elect their own. They know better than we do who's qualified for that position.
Yes, you know, if we're gonna-
I just want to make sure we're all on this, I'm on the same page because it was a gray area for me. So I just want to make sure that we're all playing by the same rules here.
Okay, so as written.
Anything else, Jared?
I'm good.
Bill?
The only thing I would ask of the community as a whole is some of these children riding around on the mini bikes, the golf carts, let's start policing our own. Judge Langle, you brought that up to me, how you have these groups up north. And when they see somebody doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing, if a village or town or city were to take action, it ruins it for everybody else. So they tend to police their own. And I would ask the residents, if you see it, talk to the parents. Number one, it's dangerous because I can tell you someone's going to get hit. All right. And when that happens, it's going to be a sad day for the whole of Salem Lakes, let alone the family impacted. So that's it.
Reed, I do have one more thing.
You do.
Yeah, sorry, going back to me. If it's an open meeting, we need to have the doors open as an open meeting. It's illegal to have all the doors closed in an open meeting. So let's just keep that in mind too.
Thanks
That's all.
for the lesson. Mr. Gant?
Well, I'm gonna agree with Bill as far as, the biggest thing we need is a little bit more enforcement. I mean, we've had the kids, I've already talked to a sheriff department sitting by the firehouse at Silver Lake, and he says, well, what do you want me to do? We can't do nothing. So that's the biggest thing, and we've already talked about that, you know, with the sheriff, when the sheriff was here. So let's see what we can do. That's all.
Kelly?
I guess I would just suggest if anybody hasn't signed up for e-notification, please do that. So that way you get notified regularly if an agenda was changed or, you know, it keeps you current and up to date as to what's going on.
Your favor?
I'd like to, during this last election cycle, there was comments made with regard to our business park. And every year there's an annual report that's done by Ellers. Those are the people that sold the bonds and set up the tax incremental financing. And in the report last year, this is dated October 5th, 2022. They say if no further development occurs within the park beyond the noted in the summary, which is what we currently have there now, the district would be able to pay for the village debt 5 years early. Comments were made that this is not a successful venture. As I just read, it's doing very well. If not another shovel of dirt is turned over, it can pay for itself 5 years prior to the 2036 deadline. So I just wanted everyone to know that.
We still have room, correct?
We still have room for additional tenants and
There will be one more.
we have some promises. That's all I have for now.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to close the cow meeting. We're going to move into the special meeting. We're going to discussion and possible action on village commission and board appointments. So I'm going to preface this by saying that I have been working with Mr. Scholze for the last week on how to do these. the right way to do these. And I also spent some time listening to past meetings, and we did not always do these correctly. So for each one, I will let you know how it goes. So for the Park Commission, and I put this all in front of you so you can all see. The Park Commission, the village president appoints, and then we need a majority vote. So for the Park Commission, I appoint the following. Shelley Erickson to a 3-year term expiring in 2026. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Grant, second by Mr. Faber. I appoint Katie,
Take a vote.
oh, sorry, Eileen, roll call vote, sorry, first time.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Katie, I appoint Katie Bulbrecht to the Park Commission
I'll
Good.
to approve.
to a 3-year term expiring in 2026. Do I have a motion? Mr. Faber, seconded by Mr. Hopkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed.
Oh, any opposed? Sorry, we're all good. Okay. We're going to move into the Plan Commission. So the Plan Commission, the village president appoints, no board vote needed. So I appoint the following to the Plan Commission. Eric Erickson, reappointing for his term expiring in 2026. I am appointing to the Plan Commission to a 3-year term expiring in 2026, Andy Phillips. I am appointing to the Plan Commission as first alternate with a term expiring in 2024, Jeff Albrecht. I am appointing to the Plan Commission with a 1-year term as second alternate expiring in 2024, Roger Johnson. I would also like to withdraw the appointment of Kim Brunig, and I do need a majority vote. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Can I get a roll call vote, Eileen, by name?
I'm starting with you.
No, I'm sorry, trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes, in favor.
trustee Hopkins,
No.
trustee Gant,
No.
trustee Faber,
No,
and trustee Sweeting.
Yes.
Do I also get a vote?
Yes.
I vote yes.
President, you vote.
So that's 4 in favor, 3 not in favor. And I will be appointing Joe Day in her place to fill the remainder of the position expiring in 2025. And I appoint Joe Day as the chair. I am also going to withdraw the appointment of Alan Summer. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And I apologize, there was trustee Young and Barheit with.
Yes, correct. Trustee Young and Barheit. Can I get a roll call vote on that, please, Eileen?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins,
Yes.
trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Faber,
yes,
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes, it's unanimous. I will be appointing Ross Swartz to fill the remainder of that position expiring in 2025. With that, I'm going to move to the Fire Commission. For the Fire Commission, the village president appoints and then a majority vote is needed. Tom Strachan rendered his resignation. So there's one seat to appoint. And I am going to be appointing to the Fire Commission with a term expiring in 2028, Ed Harride. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins,
No,
trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Faber,
Yes.
and trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
President Bucher.
Yes. 6-1. Welcome, Ed. We'll move on to the Board of Appeals. The Board of Appeals, the village president appoints, then a majority vote is needed. The president also appoints the chair and the vice chair. I am going to reappoint Vicky Galich to the Board of Appeals as vice chair with a term expiring in 2026. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes,
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Faber,
Yes.
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes. I will also be appointing to the Board of Appeals with a term expiring in 2026, Peter Pulley as chair. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
I second it.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
yes,
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Faber,
Yes.
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
President Bucher.
Yes. Welcome, Pete. Previously, we have not had any alternates on the Board of Appeals due to no one stepping forward, so we have had that this time. I will be appointing as first alternate to the Board of Appeals with a term expiring in 2026, Patrick Merritts. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
yes,
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Faber.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes. Welcome, Patrick. I will also be appointing a second alternate to the Board of Appeals with a term expiring in 2026. I choose to appoint Michelle Perry. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
yes,
Trustee Gant.
Yep.
Trustee Faber,
Yes.
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes. Welcome, Michelle Perry, if you're here. We'll move on to the Board of Review. For the Board of Review, the village president appoints. There is no board vote needed. So I am going to appoint to the Board of Review for a term expiring in 2026, Jeff Albrecht and Shirley Benning. We will move to the library board. So for the library board, the village president appoints, and then a majority vote is needed. I appoint the following to the library board. Kathy Siski for a term expiring in 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Favor,
Yep.
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes. Mr. Hopkins has resigned his trustee position on the board. I will be appointing Kelly Sweeting to that spot with a term expiring in 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hopkins and Young. Roll call vote?
Yes.
You have to wait for your name to be called.
Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Favor,
Yes.
and trustee Sweeting abstaining.
Yes, there we go.
And then President Bucher.
Yes. We also have a vacant spot that was previously held by Dwayne Keller. So this would be appointing for the remainder of his term expiring in 2025. And to that position, I appoint Kim Chesser. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Bill?
Yes.
And a second?
So moved.
And Hopkins, both bills. Roll call vote?
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Favor,
Yes.
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes. Welcome, Kim. Okay, we'll move to item number 2, which is discussion and possible action on our Lake District representatives. So first, we have Camp and Center Lakes Rehabilitation District. We did not receive any applications to fill this seat.
Seat is not vacant,
It's not vacant.
not vacant.
Are you on it?
Nope.
Okay, well, we must have had, Eileen, there was no vacant seat on Camp and Center Lakes?
I don't know, that's what we removed, right, from the agenda.
We did remove it? Do I have an old one? I apologize, everybody.
Well, that's perfect.
Okay.
And that works out just great.
First time. Welcome, Dennis. Okay, we're gonna move on to the Hooker Lake Management District. So we did receive information today that this seat does not need to be a trustee, but they do need to live in the Lake District. We did receive one application / letter of intent for that. So I appoint Aaron Curran to this seat. It has no term limit. What I'm unclear on is if I need a vote on this.
I don't know without doing a little research myself. I would suggest that you do one, then if you don't need it, you've done extra.
Great.
There you go.
Okay, can I have a motion
Motion to approve.
and a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
In favor, yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Favor,
Yes.
trustee Sweeting,
Yes.
and President Bucher.
Yes. Okay. Silver Lake Management District. We also have received no applications to fill this seat. Do I have a trustee who would like to be appointed to this?
I'll step up.
Mr. Hopkins? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. Second.
Who is it?
Bill.
Mr. Hopkins,
And the second.
seconded by Ron. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Abstain.
You're railroaded.
Trustee Kent,
Yes.
Trustee Favor,
Yes.
Yes.
President Beaver.
Yes. Our last one is Volts Lake Management District. We also have not received any applications to fill this seat. Is there a trustee who would like to be appointed? Otherwise, we will open it up to the public.
I'd like to be appointed.
Okay, Mr. Young.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
I'll abstain.
we have to wait till you're called, Jared.
No.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Young.
Abstain.
Trustee Hopkins,
Yes.
trustee Kent,
Yes.
trustee Favor. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
President Beaver.
Yes. With that, I would just like to say thank you, everyone, for being patient and quiet. Nice to see. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that.